let's jump into our costume analysis. And we've done with the Superman costumes, the live action Superman costumes from TV and film. So now we are, thanks to Michael's great suggestion, looking at Clark Kent as the character and the way he has appeared over the years. So let's have a look at, going back to the beginning, Kirk Alyn. So there we have him with Noel Neill as Lois Lane. Now, you might think, how can you do a costume analysis of Clark Kent? But there are so many elements to who Clark Kent is and what makes him a visually appealing character. And we start with the iconic hat. Mm-hmm. Now, it's usually a fedora of some kind. And while we don't see it so much in modern live-action versions of Superman, I think since maybe Christopher Reeve, we really haven't seen Clark Kent wear a hat as part of his daily attire. Nevertheless, I think it's obviously a throwback to a time when men wore hats as their everyday attire, just like they wore suits. But I love the hat as part of Clark Kent's look.
Yeah, it's one of those things that, especially when you're going to the Golden and Silver and even into the Bronze Age, it's just an iconic look for Superman, basically because he was dressing as men dressed at the time. And, it's kind of always, I mean, I can't see Dean Cain wearing a hat. I can't see Tom Welling or Brandon Routh or any of them. Because just in those modern contexts, that wasn't something that you really did. Now, if he wore it, he'd be accused of being a hipster. Because it wouldn't be a fedora, it'd be a trilby. And I think we're all much better off in life never seeing Clark Kent wear a trilby. But no, I always like in the like the serials and especially the George Reeves series, seeing Clark in the hat.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's again, it's an iconic look. I mean, we'd be more surprised now to see them wearing a hat, and they would be very surprised way back then if he wasn't wearing the hat, because that was just how it was back then.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, drawing, the early comics, obviously he was wearing it because that's what men wore. So obviously this is the first live action. In general, and they've got to give him that hat, and it's such a classic look. In a way, I kind of wish they could bring it back just a little, in some way, because I just love the look. But now I'm sure they won't. But it's just so iconic. I just love the look of it.
And then we get to the suit, and Clark's always worn a business suit to work. I mean, even in Man of Steel, he still had a tie and a jacket on. So it's, still not up to today's kind of, just wear your jeans and your T-shirt to work kind of thing, as probably a lot of them do. But, you still wore your business attire when you're going to work, even as a reporter. And let's be fair and honest, back in that time, journalists were respected people, not seen like today where they're kind of trolls and, people don't respect them. Back then, a Daily Planet newspaper was a respected place to go and, give your story to. And here we've got the double-breasted suit, which is not so much in fashion anymore. It's more the single-breasted suit, but, wide lapels and all that kind of stuff. But, it's a little bit baggy here, which kind of makes sense because you don't want Clark to be wearing something that's going to show off his physique.
Yeah, I always thought Kirk Alyn's suit did look, or Kirk Alyn always did kind of look like he was wearing a suit jacket that was one size too big. Which, again, if you want to, he didn't seem too concerned about separating the identities. I mean, it wasn't like George Reeves, who was really not that concerned about separating how he acts from one or the other. JP Rocha in the comments mentions that double-breasted suits are ugly. I just think the thing with double-breasted suits on large men is it makes them look puffier than they are. I guess is a weird thing.
Mm-hmm.
But again, you don't want him wearing something that's form fitting. So it's kind of it's an argument I have with myself because the stakes are so low. I can be wrong or right about it, and it doesn't matter.
I think I actually had a sport coat, double-breasted sport coat at one time, but
Yeah, me too.
um, yeah, no, I mean it's still the classic jacket and tie look.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, he does make it his baggier, certainly. Um, I don't know. It doesn't look so much different as any of the others. Really, it's just has that. You could just tell it just, especially with the double breasted. It is puffier. It is roomier. Obviously, okay, they don't want it to be tight to show off a physique, but I think they went a little too far in making it a little bit too loose on him.
Mm. It just has the everyman look, which I guess is what you're going for when you are Clark Kent. And then you've got the glasses, and here they're very thin rimmed glasses, not the horn rimmed glasses that we come familiar with over the years. But so they're not so much of a mask in many ways. Like they don't disguise him, but that's kind of what the glasses were for his time. And they're he's doing his X-ray vision here, which is why he's very wide-eyed, which is what I liked about Kirk Alyn's attempts at showing that he was doing that, using that superpower. But very plain.
I always kind of thought that Kirk Alyn's Clark always kind of looked like he was high, uh, just in his general demeanor. And so I guess the wide-eyed part of that is, I guess that's where the paranoia is setting in, and he thinks everyone's out to get him. No, the glasses are one of those things. By the way, the glasses are a constant source of uh, contention within the Bailey household, because my wife thinks that they are the silliest disguise of all time, and that there should be no way that people who work with Clark should not know that he's Superman. Going down to the point that if sometimes when I take off my glasses, she will go, "Who is this stranger in my house?" But I think Kirk Alyn looked. It's like they plucked the Clark Kent from the comics at the time and put it on screen.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's why the glasses, in particular, with the thin frames, work well for what he's doing. Whereas in later Clark's, thicker frames kind of became more the fashion.
Now, just quickly before Mark jumps in on this, the reason I like the hat as part of the costume is because it adds another element of disguising him, because he hasn't got his hair just freely flowing and the curl there on his forehead or whatever his hairstyle is. Having the hat on also adds another element of disguise.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely.
No, I'll agree with that.
Yeah, and it's just let me my quick theory about the glasses being a disguise is just Siegel and Schuster, they created that. He put on the glasses, that was his disguise, and that was it. They played with it through the decades, making fun of it and all this, but it is what it is. They said he's going to put the glasses on, and it was going to be his disguise, and people weren't going to know who he is, and that's it. I don't want to. I don't want to go so much further with it. I know it seems ridiculous.
Let's be honest, but it's more than just the glasses. It's the fact that his demeanor, it's his attire, the way he goes about, the way his voice is. I mean, Christopher Reeve did it best when he showed that scene where he'd just come back from flying Lois and he contemplates telling her who he is, and his whole physical demeanor, his voice, everything changes. So it's not just the glasses. I hate when people say, like you said, Michael, that joke of, and they did it in the Scooby-Doo animated film where Crypto and Scooby-Doo 2, whatever it was called, where was it Thelma took off her glasses and Lois is like, "Where'd Thelma go?" And it's like, and she puts the glasses back on. "Oh, there you are." It's like, it's so silly.
Well, I don't know. It is everything. It is everything. I mean, even though I thought, Christopher Reeve did play it a little bit too
Goofy.
silly, or however you wanted to say, goofy. Yeah, with him, I mean, you really his whole look and the way he acted, you really couldn't in that whole moment. And I know we're going to go into this when we get to Superman the movie, but in that whole moment, when he takes off the glasses, like he's going to tell her, and then in the last second he doesn't, and that was just brilliant.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, I mean, for the glasses themselves, yeah, they're basically they basically are the golden age Superman from the comics. I mean, it looks just like that,
Mm.
and they're fine. I mean, the glasses will change as time goes on, but I kind of
Just like,
like these
yeah,
glasses.
just like the suit. So yeah, there's the glasses, but then we look at Kirk Alyn as a person, as his face, his hair. I mean, let's look at the hair because with Christopher Reeve, he parted his hair differently from when he was Clark Kent to when he was Superman, and I don't think that shtick had kind of been about, or is even necessarily something that a lot of people think about too much, even back then or now. But he's got the hairstyle of the day, and it's that slick back look with the Brill cream or whatever else you've got going on, which is very much the style of the 1940s.
Yeah, he does look like he sits there and hums the Brill Cream theme or jingle as he's doing his hair in the mornings and all that. It's a little poofy on top, but if you had thick hair back then, um, that's kind of how it worked. And he had kind of wavy hair too. Kirk
He
Alyn
did.
did. So I'm sure that was kind of a probably a source of constant uh, touch up between takes and such. It's also interesting seeing with this Clark Kent because it is the late 40s. He doesn't have sideburns. His hair is neatly trimmed around his ears,
Mm.
so it's a very conservative haircut.
Yes.
Whereas when we would get to later Clark Kents in the 70s and 90s, that gets a little looser.
Yeah, I mean, I thought even as when he was Superman, I didn't. One of the weakest parts I thought was his hair. I didn't like the way that looks. I mean, as for Clark, it looks fine. It is that 1940s hairdo. Um, I don't see it any either here nor there. It's just it looks fine.
Yeah.
It
So
looks
I mean,
fine for what it.
yeah, can't really. I mean, I don't know if we should give ratings for Clark Kent's in here, but I mean, if we're going to out of 10, I would give Kirk Alyn a solid 7.
I might be a little lower. I'll give it a 5.
Yeah, I'd give him an 8. I'd probably go 1 point holder.
Okay. There we go. We diverged quite differently
Mark
here.
the contrarian.
Hey, I
It
like my
is.
Clark a certain way. What can I say?
No, fair enough.